And the internal stuff inside, it doesn't go away, but it gets like quiet. It gets crowded out this way, not that way. So Hey guys, what's up? Okay, I am going to hold my marker today, my trusty Sharpie. Sometimes I put it down because I fiddle with it the whole time, and sometimes I've flung it around and I've actually like whacked my nose and almost stuck out my nose and stuff. But today I need it because I need to use it for an oar for rafting. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. All right, today I'm sharing the one whitewater rafting technique that totally changed how I parent. It's crazy, it's true. And it's simple. And yeah, it might even save your sanity, even if you'll never step foot in a raft. So, picture this. I'm on a raft. I'm shooting the rapids on the Blackfoot River in Montana with a literal boatload of kids. Okay, water's churning, boat's bouncing. One of my kids is screaming like it's all over. But hang on a sec. I gotta back up, okay? I'm Tommy Latham. I'm a dad of 10 kids, grandpa, uncle, 60-something times over, and our family owns a 14-foot whitewater rowing raft named the Achilles, not that the name even matters, and sorry to throw out so many numbers in one sentence. So we like to take the Achilles down some wild stretches of river, and something I learned from like odd-smelling rafting buddies over the years is this. When you see rapids coming, you don't try to muscle through it. You slow the raft way down, almost to a stop. See how I use that? It was important. Okay. And that seems almost counterintuitive because you're like, no, I gotta power through, right? But you don't. You get the boat set. You get oars in hand, everyone in position. Hold on, I have a screwdriver over here. I don't know why I have a screwdriver, but because sometimes I have to just fix things around my set. So I'm gonna actually like use it like that. Okay. And then when you're actually in the rapids, the wild water, the chaos, all you're doing is you're steering. And you could actually do it with just one oar pointed directly back, like a rudder back here. So you flip this one forward. This is all like up next to the boat right there. And this one's back there. And you're just steering like that, right? That's all you're doing. So it's just little adjustments, right? You're not pulling hard or you're not trying to power forward or backward, right? That's pointless. Actually trying to muscle your way through just makes it worse because you can't overpower the current. You just steer. You just ride it out, right? And that right there, that's a parenting lesson. Heck, that's a life lesson. I'm gonna put this over here on my little stool with my beer. I'm drinking beer. Back to my story. So when the chaos hits, you don't fight it, right? That's the lesson I'm giving you here. You don't power through, you just steer. And that's really counterintuitive to some parents. And it hit me, that is exactly like raising kids, river rafting and raising kids, which if you've done either, you know they're both, they're not that different. Both can be fun and terrifying at the exact same time. And sometimes you're just trying not to fall out of the boat. So when life gets crazy, tantrums, school stress, work pressure, whatever, most of us, we start paddling like mad. We start trying to fix it. We start trying to control it, to push through. And that just makes it worse. So I read this New York Times article the other day. It reminds me of Trump. The failing New York Times. Anyway, I just had to say that. Don't sue me on New York Times, seriously. Like they'll ever see this. But anyway, it was a good article, but the core idea was about motivation. And what they found is kind of wild. Okay, basically, they found that internal motivation, like when you're doing something because it matters to you, because it fits who you are, it leads to deeper, longer lasting effort. It's more sustainable. But when you mix in external motivation like money, pressure, or rewards, it actually messes with that internal spark. And it's not because it's stronger, but because it's more immediate. It's louder, it's flashier. The external, right? It hijacks attention. Okay, I'll give you an example. It's like telling a kid, hey, reading is awesome. I want you to love reading. And then you go, oh, hey, and I'll give you $5 every time you read a book. Now, suddenly they're not reading because it's awesome. They're reading for money. The internal love part gets hijacked because it's not about love or purpose. It's about chasing the reward. Okay, so especially with kids, that shift happens so fast. They go from, I love reading to, I only read for money. Or they go from like, I clean my room to feel proud to, I only clean it if I get like screen time or whatever, okay? So external motivation over here, it kind of takes over the steering wheel. And the internal stuff inside, it doesn't go away, but it gets like quiet. It gets crowded out this way, not that way. So that's why combining both external and internal, even though it sounds like a win, it actually weakens the internal drive. So here's where that river analogy comes back in. Should I get my screwdriver? No, I need to get. All right. The article described motivation like a river. Okay. You've got gravity. That's like your purpose, your intent, the universal force pulling you forward, right? It's just right. And then there's the water. That's your energy, your life force, your motivation. And then there's the riverbed. And that's like your mind and your body, your life situation, your habits, your structure. Okay. And the whole thing works when it's flowing naturally, when we're not damming it up with these external, pun intended, with these external pressures and goals and like, man, I should do this, or I should have done that, So here's how this hits home as a dad. You ready? We try too hard. When our kids hit a tough season, maybe one of them is like struggling with school, or they're pushing back on rules, or we're just going through one of those loud, messy, emotional phases with kids, we start paddling like mad. We want to fix it. We want to control it. We want to push them through the chaos. Like, get done with this phase and you're killing me. Like, I'm so sick of this, right? But that's just like trying to row through the rapids. It doesn't help. It actually makes it worse. What we really need is to slow things down, to get our own life in order before the chaos hits. Take care of our sleep, our time with God, our marriage, our mental and emotional health. That's the getting situated part, right? Before the rapids come. And then when the hard season comes, when the river gets wild, we steer, right? We don't try to overpower it. We don't overcorrect. We don't panic. We trust the flow. We make little moves, right? We let the current do its thing and we stay steady. Now, I'm not saying we don't discipline our kids or set boundaries. Of course we do. We're not just gonna be like, oh, I'm just riding through this thing. I'm just gonna steer it. I'm gonna cruise. No. But if it's not coming from a calm place of purpose, if it's just us flailing around, yelling, reacting, I do that a lot. It's not steering, right? It's paddling against the river. Okay. And honestly, this is something I've learned the hard way. With 10 kids, I've made all the mistakes, and I still do. There have been whole years where I tried to muscle everything into place, get everyone on a perfect schedule, have deep talks with each kid, make time for date night, and keep the budget tight, and still just crush it at work, right? But the truth is, I just crash, because motivation doesn't come from pressure, it comes from purpose. And that right there was just one of those cool soundbite phrases that don't mean jack without practical tips. Okay, so here you go. Here's what you do. It's simple. First of all, just slow down before the chaos. Get your raft in order, your habits, your time with God, your relationships. This is how you get set before the rapids hit. And then when life gets rough, just steer. Don't try to push through it, or don't try to fix everything all at once. Just ride it out with calm, loving presence. And then, just get back to what makes you feel alive. Not what's good for you or what looks good on paper. It's what actually brings you joy, energy, a sense of purpose. That's where internal motivation lives. That's where the water starts flowing again, right? So that's your dad formula today, or Daily Drive for Dads, wherever you're watching this. I got a couple podcasts. Just let go of the pressure. Drop the pedals, trust the current, just steer. And don't forget, when the boat's bumping all over the place and your kid's yelling and someone's crying because, I don't know, they lost a sock or something, you're still the guide. You're still the guide. You're still in the boat, and you're doing a lot better than you think. So thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode helped you, shoot it to a fellow dad or leave a comment. Don't smash the subscribe button. That hurts it. Just click it gently. Seriously. Anyway, subscribe, comment. That stuff really helps other guys find this kind of encouragement. And if you want to go deeper, check out more at dadformula.com. That's where we're building a whole community of guys trying to do this dad thing kind of thing with heart and purpose. All right. Love you guys. God bless. Talk soon.